Creative Pro Wrestling fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. Celtic Pride was a great event held at the Knights of Columbus in Lynbrook, New York. We had a pre-show to kick off the event as we saw El Magnifico and El Terrifico, collectively known as Tremenda Magnificia, say that 3 times fast, I think they battled with Jay Macias and Pat Fitzpatrick. QGTM, Queens Gets the Money. QGTM defeats Tremenda Magnificia. I won't say that 3 times fast, at 5 minutes, 8 seconds. Alright, then we'll talk to the main show. We were scheduled to see the Shooter Boys to battle with the Adrenaline Express, VSK and Eric James. Aaron Ortiz of the Shooter Boys comes to the ring by himself, but then the Adrenaline Express come out, and Anthony Vecchio was apparently attacked in the back, and I don't know if Adrenaline Express had done it or not. And Aaron Ortiz wanted to do the match alone, but out comes Bear Bronson, and the match was on. Aaron Ortiz of the Shooter Boys and Bear Bronson defeat the Adrenaline Express at 11 minutes, 6 seconds. Up next was a singles match, which we saw making his return for his final match, Johnny Clash, as he did battle with TK Wilde. TK Wilde defeated Johnny Clash at 6 minutes, 29 seconds. For those that don't remember, Clash is a former Creative Pro champion, former tag team champion. He was 1/3 of the group Spite with Liam Davis and Mike Anthony. I guess he's not around anymore. Next matchup, we see the artist Jake Lang, accompanied by Sidney Baca. Again, I can't remember his last name right now. He was dressed wearing like a painter's smock. Well, that's what Sidney was wearing. Sidney Bacabella, there's his name. Sidney Bacabella accompanied the artist Jake Lang to the ring as he challenged Dante Drago is the best for the television championship. Drago had things going his way, but as the referee went down the count, Sidney Bacabella pulls the referee out of the ring and attacks him. Bacabella comes to the ring, and he and Lang double team Drago, and the referee eventually gets up, calls for the bell. Dante Drago defeats the artist Jake Lang by disqualification at 8 minutes, 5 seconds to retain the television championship. Drago gets the microphone, and he's basically challenged Bacabella and Lang to a tag match at Creative Pro's next event, which will be the return to all sports in Melville. And Drago announced that his partner is going to be good brother Luke Gallows. All right. Up next was a 6-way matchup, which saw Armani Chaos versus Tristan Kyle versus Liam Davis versus Nick Robles versus the leading man Jack Tomlinson versus the Silver Sniper TJ Crawford. Deep in the match, Robles and Crawford, who had been teaming up in recent memory, they started going at it with each other. Eventually, Jack Tomlinson, I forgot who he hit the curb stomp on. Jack Tomlinson defeats TJ Crawford, Nick Robles, Liam Davis, Tristan Kyle, and Armani Chaos to win the Mayhem medal at 7 minutes, 11 seconds. Insert your big gulp and slurpy references, folks. Up next, we had a battle of WWE ID prospects as Ricky Smokes took on the dime piece Aaron Rourke. Pretty good match these guys had. Aaron Rourke defeats Ricky Smokes at 8 minutes, 54 seconds. Then, up next, it was the Dominican Destroyer Vargas to take on a man who Creative Pro's general manager, the answer to your prayers, Ariel and Nix, had picked someone to take Vargas out, and she introduces Max Smashmaster. Man, a little bigger than Vargas and had some face paint on. Pretty hard-hitting the crowd was yelling meat. I'm sure they weren't hungry for actual meat in that one. Max Smashmaster defeated Dominican Destroyer Vargas at 6 minutes 2 seconds. So I don't know. Is Max Smashmaster going to be around? Is he like the new henchman for Ariella Nix? At that point, they had gone to intermission. And got to intermission. And at that point in time, I went over to where they had like a popcorn machine over there. I forgot how much they were like selling for like $2. But I went to get the French fries, which was $3, and they once again had, because I think one of the shows last year in Lynbrook, I bought some fries at intermission, and they were crinkle cut. Instead of like puny French fries that you would like get from anywhere. But these French fries stood out because not just because I say they were crinkle cut. Damn, they were not, and they were still hot too, by the way, because I was getting hungry like the wolf, as Duran Duran would say. All right, the action resumes. Out comes the show resumes with Will Strauss coming out, and he goes one-on-one with one half of the what a rush. One half of the Birds of the Sun, Leo Sparrow, who announced that his partner GKM is injured and will be out of action for a period of time. Strauss said that if he won the match, there'd be free hot dogs for the crowd. The match was on. Leo Sparrow defeats Will Strauss at 3 minutes 56 seconds, and it appears Will Strauss's losing streak continues. I mean, I don't know. Is it safe to say Will Strauss is like, I don't know, would have put him in the category, but are they giving him like the Barry Horowitz treatment in Create a Pro? Next up was another title match, as we saw Evil Kip and Bryce Donovan defend the Tag Team Championship against Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, The System. I don't know if this match was rushed or not. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards defeated Evil Kip and Bryce Donovan to win the Creative Pro Wrestling Tag Team Championship at 6 minutes 56 seconds. After the match, Bryce took the microphone and mentioned that things are changing for him because he didn't mention it, but he is a WWE ID prospect. And he said to Kip, I want to be the man in this company again. And he doesn't want to, not going to be, says Kip, I hope you understand. But then Bryce eventually nails Kip with a lariato and attacks him until like a bunch of referees come out and Bryce stops the onslaught. And that was main event time. It was a St. Patrick's Day street fight as Latina Spice Nat Castle, Sebastian Amor, or is it Sabi Amor, and Uztic Sucio, collectively known as Los Toxicos, as they did battle with the champ, Bobby Orlando, women's champion, the Nomi Gabby Forza, and former WWE star Swoggle. Now, it was a pretty wild match these 6 individuals had. At one point, Swoggle bit somebody in the ass, and Bobby and Gabby, they decided to bite somebody in the ass, and it's like, I mean, I guess they were having din-din with asses here, having asses for din-din, shall we say. Let's see, I think at one point Bobby Orlando was knocked off the top rope, but he fell through a table that was set up at ringside. Nat Castle used a chair on Gabby Forza. There was a box of Lucky Charms cereal, but Nat Castle carried that to the ring, but she turned the box around. Thumbtacks came out. Nat Castle was dropped on those thumbtacks. Oh, what a rush. Nat Castle was dropped on the thumbtacks by Gabby Forza. And I think the other members of the Los Toxicos, they were dropped. At one point, The Toxicos had their way, things going their way, but Stone Cold Steve Austin's music comes out, comes on. Swoggle comes back out wearing a bald cap, makeshift Steve Austin vest, and denim shorts or jorts, and Swaggle, Gabby, and Bobby hit Stone Cold Stunners galore. Bobby Orlando, Gabby Forza, and Swaggle defeat Los Toxicos at 12 minutes 17 seconds in the St. Patrick's Day street fight, and a great way to send the crowd home happy. Personal notes: it was good seeing Sam, Tommy, Robin, Lauren, Ryan Peterson. Who else I remember seeing in the crowd? Oh, Joey. How could I forget him? Yeah, I'm hoping someday to get a picture with both Gabby Forza and Bear Bronson. You know, it's just that, like, I never, every time I go into the room where the wrestlers have their merch tables set up, you know, I never see them in there. I guess I know they're getting ready for the show, or like go in there in that room before the show starts or at intermission. But Bronson opened up the show, and I really don't like hanging around when the shows are done. All right. They let the crowd in at 4:04 p.m. Not as bad as Toxication last month, which was 4:11 p.m. WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter was there for a meet and greet, and I'm surprised he had a table set up in the room where the show's going on, and Slaughter was sitting back there like throughout most of the show, but I think he did leave before it ended, because I saw they took the American flag that was set up. They took that down. All right. Not sure if the crowd was as big as Toxication last month. Unless I'm mistaken, another row of chairs was added to my section last month, because I'm usually I sit in the second row, and that area right near the curtain is where the curtain's set up, where the hard camera's positioned, and there's commentary as well behind behind where are you, that in that area behind me. Well, I'll start by saying this: Creative Pro Wrestling returns to All Sports in Melville on Saturday, May 31st. And as I mentioned earlier, Dante Drago is the best, teams up with Good Brother Luke Gallows to do battle with the artist Jake Lang and Sidney Bacabella. Obviously, since that's a tag match, the TV title will not be defended that night. But also announced to appear so far on Saturday, May 31st, is making his return to Creative Pro Wrestling, first WWE Tough Enough winner Maven, and also, I believe, returning to Creative Pro Wrestling. I could be wrong if he's been there in the past. Maybe that was before I started going to CAP shows. Former TNA World Champion Rich Swann. One thing I forgot to mention, but right after after the Ricky Smokes Aaron Rourke match, Nick Robles and TJ Crawford come out through the curtain, and they're brawling, and they're going at it until they're separated. So it looks like they may go at it May 31st. You know, Bobby Orlando has not defended that Creative Pro Championship since he won the belt back in October. November, you know, there was the Shook Bowl 2, didn't defend the title. Frostbite in December, didn't defend the title. The Cappies in January, didn't defend the title. Last month, Intoxication, didn't defend the title. Celtic Road in early March, didn't defend the title. So I don't know, you know, I imagine he will defend the belt May 31st. And Gabby Forza, obviously she's going to go past 1 year as the first ever women's champion because it was May 11th of last year when Gabby Forza won the women's champion. She became the first ever women's champion. On this particular show, we didn't have CPA, we didn't have the Even Stevens. Let me see who else was not there. We know GKM of the Birds of the Sun, he's hurt. Phil Cardigan we didn't see. Now, I'm sure they'll have so many. Oh, actually, well, what they could do unless this didn't happen at this show, on May 31st, finally have the Shooter Boys versus Adrenaline Express 2. Second meeting between those two teams. They fought each other at Celtic Road in early March. Now, one thing I want to address. Okay, I can understand. I get that the cameramen and the photographers, they're at ringside taking video and photos of the action. But now the one cameraman that was mostly on my side where I was sitting, he's very tall, and he could have at least kneeled down, and he was not only blocking my view, but that's not fair to the fans in the crowd who came to see the show. I mean, the people, those sitting in front of me, in the front row in front of me, their view was blocked as well. I mean, he couldn't at least bend his knees as he's recording the action. While I'm on the subject of cameramen, the one cameraman wearing the Jey Uso t-shirt, he came over by us at intermission asking those with megaphones to calm it down. And there was, right across the room was another person with a megaphone. Not sure it was the same individual who brought a megaphone intoxication last month. I think they were told the same thing, unless I'm mistaken. Now, this is the first time this has happened. It wasn't like this before. Every time I go to Creative Pro Wrestling, nobody seems to have a problem with megaphone use. Now, I don't know if cameraman in the Jey Uso shirt was new to this, but I get that you're filming and you're focusing on that. But what's going to be next? They're going to try to tell the crowd not to make noise and not to scream and shout, and not to clap next. Unreal, folks. I don't know about the rest of you. Maybe you may agree or disagree with me on this one. All right. Like I said, May 31st, I'll be back at All Sports in Melville. So far, Jake Lang and Sidney Bacabella against Dante Drago is the best, and Good Brother Luke Gallows. Maven appearing, Rich Swann appearing. Nah, there's no show title yet for this event. So, I mean, that's May 31st, a long, long away, folks. Wow. Ooh, what else can I say about this event that has yet to be said? I forgot to mention, for the second month in a row, Adrenaline Express were wearing Heart Foundation influenced jackets. And they still come out to Expose's Point of No Return. Obviously, seeing that Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards won the tag team title, Eddie Edwards is going to be around. At least for May 31st, he will be. And also it was reported that Alicia Edwards, Eddie's wife, will be appearing May 31st. Don't know if she'll have a match or not. But, it was a little good time. Unfortunately, in an effort to save some money, I did not walk down to the Taco Bell on Merrick Road to eat. I actually after the show ended, I went straight home. And yes, I took the railroad. I didn't wait for that N4 bus that goes all the way to Jamaica Center. Took the train, took the railroad back to Jamaica, and then took the subway train home. And I was home just before 9 p.m. But Creative Pro Wrestling Celtic Pride was very good. I don't know if next March they'll call it Celtic Pride again or have another name, depending on what day they run next March, and if it's a Sunday show. But I wish not just Creative Pro Wrestling, but everybody that does indie shows that are done on Sundays. I still wish these shows would start at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. It's more convenient for not only the fans, but who's to say if anybody on the show has got to work their jobs the next day. So, Creative Pro Wrestling doesn't disappoint, and who knows what they're going to have come May 31st when they return to Melville. CAP, 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 CAP.